War Eagle War Report family, I'm your host, C Dub. 4 Auburn players enter the transfer portal. We do our weekly predictions of the SEC games, and we discuss Auburn Arkansas matchup as well as facts or nah on the latest edition of the Midweek Report. War Eagle, everyone. War Eagle, happy Wednesday. Welcome to the latest midweek report brought to you by show sponsor auburnsports.com. Please head on over there to get your latest regarding recruiting and all news regarding Auburn athletics. Shout out to those guys, JG Tate and the fellas, for supporting our show and supporting the War Report. We want to thank you guys for also supporting us as well. You're already doing that by tuning in, whether live or on replay, but there are several ways, many other ways that you can support us. And if you're on social media, you can start by sharing this content out there so people can find it, join the discussion, help us grow our community, give us some exposure on these internets. We gladly appreciate it. Smash the like button while you're here, guys. And if you're new to our channel, we'd love for you to subscribe to us. Now, you can also become a member of the War Report, and Ike Jones can tell you exactly how you do that.
Yep. Easy. Just click the join button. And, unless you're like some people who told us somebody told us in the comment section to go get a job, like nobody cares anymore. I thought that was particularly funny. We still care. So if you all care as well and you still want to get this great War Report content, we're going to still keep cranking it out for you, man. So $5.99 gets you to the patron level. If you want to be a supporter of the War Report, $3.99 gets you to that place. Of course, you already know the benefits, but if you've never heard, we do watch the film weekly. We are doing things like game day chat, so halftime and post game reaction shows. Those are limited to members only. So if you are a member, then you can give someone else a membership and they can come on board with the War Report family. We appreciate everybody who is sticking it out with the War Report because, listen, the War Report is here. Winning season, losing season, championships, and all in between. We will still be here doing our thing, and we appreciate you all. If you guys didn't see on social media, man, I did this new shirt. I'm gonna give away one of them, sweatshirt today. It's the Rushmore shirt, sponsored by War Eagle Oil. The giveaway, as always, War Eagle Oil is your place for motor oil and motor related products. Go to wareagleoil.com. But if you want to win this Rushmore sweatshirt, what you need to do is hashtag get your weight up in the comments. We'll be doing a drawing for that. If you didn't see on social media, the Rushmore features the names of the top 100 rushers for Auburn University at present. So hashtag get your weight up in the comments to be able to win the first one of these. Nobody even on the War Report has this. So you'll get the very first one if you win it tonight. But that's it, man. Let's get into the show.
Gentlemen, let's get into it. Let's talk about it. Before we get into our weekly predictions, not a lot of games to predict as we're in conference play and people having bye weeks. Let's kind of talk about some Auburn-related news. 4 Auburn players have entered the transfer portal. That is defensive lineman Zacchaeus Walker, wide receivers Landon King and Tavares Dawson, and cornerback A.D. Diamond. These gentlemen have entered the portal. And of course, there were some reports about surrounding circumstances as to how this came about regarding players wanting to redshirt, sit the year out, and preserve their eligibility. And of course, that came to a head. Allegedly, what's been reported is that Harsin told some of these guys, if you are medically cleared to play, we expect you to suit up. If not, you're free to leave. And some of these guys, or all of these guys, have left. So I want to get you guys' thoughts on this. What are your instant reactions? I will start with you, Ike.
My instant reaction is I think all of the guys who left made the best decision for them. And I'm not upset at Brian Harsin if it's true that he was like, look, if you can play, we'd like you to be available in case we need you. If you can't play, I can't do anything about that. But if you can, hey, I'd want you to suit up. I think what I've been seeing as reactions from people from that has made it seem as if the coaching staff is going to make a concerted effort to burn everybody's red shirt, right? Like he's just going to check you in for one play and be like, haha, now you don't have a year eligibility because you checked into all these games. And it's like, he's just basically saying, I need as many available guys as I can because I don't know what's going to happen in the game. Somebody's might get hurt, and I'll need an additional receiver, cornerback, defensive lineman. Can you play? Yeah, I can, but I'd rather just wait and see what's going to happen this season. And if I like how it shakes out between whether you're coming back or a new coach, then I'm going to transfer. And he's like, well, if that's how you feel, then hey, by all means, go ahead. You can preserve your eligibility like you want to and enter the transfer portal. And those guys still, even in the transfer portal, would have the option to come back if the new coach or Coach Harsin or whatever decides next year that that's what they would like for them to do. But as far as this season, they're done. And that's what they wanted. So they got their opportunity to do that. I don't know that there's any issue with that, but again, I wish them the best of luck. I think all of those guys are tremendously talented. Again, I've said this about everybody who's transferred. You don't get to this level on scholarship without having a bunch of talent. But it is what it is.
B, can you also understand from the player standpoint why they may want to sit out, especially given if they haven't, for a guy like Tavares Dawson, he was penciled in or, pinned in as a starter game one, and he slid on the depth chart and hasn't factored in. He's like, why would I play now? I mean, yes, two guys ahead of me can get injured and I can get in the game, but why play at this point? So can you understand, at least from the player standpoint, why some players would want to sit out at this point?
Yeah, I do. I'm pro player by default. I'm pro player movement by default. I want players to get paid. I want players to preserve their eligibility. I want players to maximize their returns. And I don't see this as anything but that. As much activity as I've seen, and if you follow a bunch of Auburn accounts, or football accounts, college football accounts, I encourage you to follow. Maybe I'll try to retweet it from the War Report account later tonight. But there's a NCAA Rivals has a transfer portal account, and there's another guy who all he does is recruiting. I think he's Mike Farrell. He used to work at Rivals a while back, but all he does is cover. Here are the guys who are in the portal. Here's how they're doing at their new spots. Oh, look, a guy decides to go to the portal, whether it's going from FCS to FBS or it's somebody at a group of 5 school. And for the last 3 weeks, all he's been retweeting is this player has made this declaration that he's going to go and get into the transfer portal. Because at about week 5, players go, well, I see how this is going. Either I'm not playing or I probably won't play and our team isn't very good. So what am I going to be out here breaking my neck for worrying about if I'm not playing? I'll see you. I was honestly surprised we didn't have this sooner because, again, it started weeks ago. I don't see this as anything but that. And I maybe this conversation will naturally work its way around, but we were just talking about the difference between this and anywhere else is on the best teams in the country. People just waited till the end of the season to do it last year.
Yep.
Now they're doing it in the middle of the season because there's nothing to play for.
Yeah.
If we're 6-1, it's probably going to happen. The vibes are good. Everybody's feeling good. But if they're not playing, they're still going to go on the portal at the end of the season. Like number one in transfers last year was Ole Miss. Bama was 2 or 3. Georgia had the fewest by far. I think they had a pretty good because they had so much departing was probably it.
I was about to say the reason Georgia was like that is because they had a lot of starters that were not going to be coming back next year. So people still felt like good team. I still have an option or an ability to make the starting squad next year. Yeah.
Right. So I don't see this as anything but players doing what's best for them. I said it about Quinshon Judkins. We said it about Bo Nix. Said it about Malik Willis. It's okay for these players to do what's best for them if what's best for them isn't Auburn. No matter how much we like these players and want to see them succeed here.
Yep.
If you're Tavares Dawson, we heard so much good things about him coming out of camp. Javarius Johnson is almost the exact same body type, and he is the exact same position and the same skill set, and he's playing better. How are you going to get in front of him? He's got another year at least. So if you're Tavares Dawson, why wouldn't you go somewhere where you can get that slot position somewhere that needs you and wants to put you on the field right now? If you're Landon King, my gut says that he's a bit of a tweener with his skill set. Like, he's a big body. He can leap and he can catch. He doesn't necessarily have breaking speed, but he can make contested catches. I don't know how you don't find a spot for that guy unless you got a Camden Brown coming on and he looks,
or an Amari Kelly.
Like, they look like they have the same skill sets, except I mean, I don't know. We're not in the weight room with them. Camden Brown looks a little scarier than Landon King. It's just that Landon King has produced much more dynamic and impressive catches to this point in his career, more so than Camden Brown has. I don't think the positions that they're vacating are positions that we needed, unless it's for depth. Like the point Ike was trying to make about Brian Harsin saying, hey, I don't know what's going to happen. We may need you here. So I get why these guys are leaving, the same way I understood why Elijah Kenyon wanted to leave, the same way I understood why Sean Shivers wanted to leave, why Demetrius Davis wanted to leave. If you've got something to offer, but you're not breaking through where you're at, go somewhere that wants you and that wants to play you. And there's no harm in that. And I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah, but the point that you made that, we were talking a little bit off cam is about if Auburn's, this looks worse because of what our record is right now. But I am fairly certain, I can't say guarantee you, I'm fairly certain that every one of those guys who is transferring today likely would have entered the transfer portal at the end of this season as well. If because of what the prospects were for them playing going forward, where they were on the depth chart. Like Tavares Dawson started as game one, he was the starter at the slot corner. I mean, the slot receiver, and he's moved to third on the depth chart now. He's fallen further and further behind in that, and that is not an indication of his talent.
Right,
he's talented, but I just think some other people fit better with what this coaching staff wants to do. It's not ever good to see talent leave your team. It's just it just never is.
Right,
but you can't tell me that Javarius Johnson hasn't earned his snaps this year.
Right.
And I don't know measurably how much better Tavares Dawson is than Jay Fair.
Right.
And I think, to be honest, too, we talked about this a lot over the past year or so. There's a certain type of receiver, certain type of player at each position that Harsin tends to like. And we were getting a lot of guys who fit in the similar skill set of a Tavares Dawson. They all can't get on the field at the same time. So whoever rises to the top, obviously the guy who falls down the depth chart at the same time will be disgruntled, will feel like he's better. It's almost just like Coy Moore. It's like Coy Moore. Right. Coy Moore felt like, hey, I'm better than Boutte. So I'm going to go somewhere else and prove that I'm just that I'm better. And so this is these guys actually trying to go somewhere and prove that, hey, I'm better than the guys who are ahead of me on the depth chart. It happens all the time. Do you think often as fans, because you guys talked about the panic with a lot of people, do you think a lot of this is fans not adjusting to the change in landscape due to the transfer portal, NIL, all that jazz?
Yeah, I mean, listen, this is a new era in college football. This is the era of college football that a lot of fans did not like about the transfer portal rule, which is essentially free agency. This in professional sports happens all the time. I'm not on a good team, or I'm on a team where I don't feel like I'm being utilized properly. I'm going to request a trade. The difference here is they don't have to request it. They can just decide on their own. I'm done. I'm leaving. And I don't need anybody's, but you're taking a chance with a trade request. At least you know you're getting paid somewhere else once you leave that team, unless you're in a situation where they can just afford to cut you. But this ain't one of them situations. The repercussions are low as they have ever been for student athletes to decide this isn't where I want to be. I'm out.
Right.
And they're taking advantage of that opportunity. I'm not upset at it. What I'm upset about, if we're going to talk about I'm upset about in all of this, is that Auburn has not done a better job on getting in the transfer portal and acquiring more talent in specific positions of need, namely offensive line. That's what I'm upset about. I'm not upset about anybody deciding they don't want to play for Auburn anymore, regardless. Because here's the thing. I understand depth for the future and all of that stuff, because all of those things could be replaceable. But if we're talking about productivity for now, none of the guys that have left have done anything to be productive to this point. That doesn't mean that, again, that doesn't mean they're not talented. That doesn't mean Auburn could not utilize them in the future. All of those things, pretty clear, talented guys left in the transfer portal recently. But whether it's Brian Harsin or some other coach, those things are going to happen. And you just kind of have to understand that that's the way that it is right now in college football. It's going to happen.
Yeah. And it doesn't.
Georgia won a national championship, and
right.
Jermaine Burton was like, y'all wouldn't use me right. I'm out.
Right.
Right.
he went to the person that they just
went
beat.
to the team that they beat.
Because at least I'll get my numbers, I'll get my stats, and I'll get to punch some Tennessee fans in the face.
What's your boy's name? Won the Blitnikoff last year?
Addison.
Yeah.
You can't tell me he wasn't being utilized properly at the school he was at. He was still like, no, I'm good.
I'm out of here.
I'm good. So it's just gonna happen, man. It's like, and I think people just need to be okay. Again, let me say this. This is not the reason why Brian Harsin should go. There are a lot of other reasons that you could list. This one ain't the one. The transfer portal's not it. Because kids are going to transfer on winning programs and losing programs. It's just happening all over college football.
And I'm not mad at him for taking that stance as well. Because basically, if the players are telling the coach, nah, I don't want to play. And he's like, okay.
I know, right?
And if you are a part of the growing discontent and fire him now, that kind of helps players say to themselves, hey, man, it's a lot of rumors and rumbling out here that this coach ain't going to be here next year anyway. So I'm not finna play hard for him. For what? I ain't playing, and you want me to just wait around and see maybe somebody gets hurt, I get a chance to play?
Right.
No, I'm not going to do that. Again, we've placed a lot of power in players' hands with these rules, and they are taking advantage of that power. But to be fair, players have been getting dunked on for a long time by the rules. So I'm not really mad at it.
Yeah, you know, we're sitting here talking about transfers and how it hurts us. The guys were shutting it down mid-season. How many guys do we hear so much about that never sniffed the field during the season and waited it out until they had 1 year of eligibility left and their careers were almost over? I keep thinking it was Matthew Hill. Matthew Hill's a name I think about a lot. Like, oh man, Matthew Hill, 4-star. Man, we saw him do a couple returns. That was it. The boy's career at Auburn was done. And why do you hang around? Do you want these guys to just hang around like, man, you stuck it out for Auburn and we appreciate you? What? No. Do what's good for you.
Yeah, man.
Do what's good for you.
And they're like, listen, if the returns on transfers, like I really, after this has washed out for a couple of years, I want to be able to look at the numbers of the success rate of transfers at their new place.
Right.
Because it's just like you hear the Jamison Williams stories, the whatever you rattle off the list, Walker at Michigan State last year, you hear those stories, but there are hundreds of kids who either at their new hell, we could just look at players that have come to Auburn and never touched the field. They came in the transfer portal. Right. It is not abnormal to leave a situation where you thought it was bad, go somewhere else, and it doesn't get any better. And that isn't all on the coach's fault, the coach that you just left from's fault. It's not.
If you want to put anything on Harsin, if anything is going to be put on Harsin, it is the fact that the team is bad. The passing offense is poor.
Which he is supposed to be a quarterback and offense guy. And I had the same smoke for Gus. Like, bro, you an offensive dude. How's the offense this bad?
Right. So if you're not going to, that's what keeps everybody in place and happy. Like you just said, Jermaine Burton, right? Won a national championship. Yeah, but I don't like it here because I'm not getting the ball enough. You're not throwing enough. This is the run show. I'm the sign up for the run show. Let me go play with the Heisman winner because that's better for me. If we were slinging it all over the yard, maybe if some of what Harsin imagined was going to happen in the offseason actually transpired with the downfield passing attack, then a lot of these guys are getting the ball. We're passing the ball more often. But that's not happening. That's not what this is anymore. So outside of the 2 or 3 guys that start at wide receiver and maybe 2 rotational guys, that's it. That's it.
For sure. Well, guys, listen, before we get into our predictions for the other SEC matchups, before we get to the break, let's grab some of your comments because you guys have been commenting like crazy. We gladly appreciate you guys for doing that. Try to run to these really quick, guys. James Barnett, we appreciate the super chat. He says, guys, since when do players dictate when they play? You got a full ride scholarship. If Saban said the same thing, no one would say anything. Just my opinion. And I think this is to your point.
That's the hypocrisy of people being upset at what Brian Harsin said, is that this only is upsetting to you because you don't like Brian Harsin. Because had Kirby Smart, Nick Saban, what's your boy at Michigan?
Harbaugh.
Jim Harbaugh, if one of those guys had said the exact same thing, which they are known for processing players out of their programs in these other places. That's not a new, like, this is before the transfer portal became the Wild West that it is right now. Those programs have been processing players out of their program to make room for other people for years.
Revoking revoking offers because they had a better guy.
What did Chris Todd tell us? He went to go visit. He was on a recruiting trip to Oklahoma, and the Heisman winning quarterback was like, yo, they're going to try to replace me.
Yeah.
Like,
every year this happens all the time. But for some reason, Brian Harsin is the bad guy. Because again, I get it. We're supposed to hate Brian Harsin, and every time we say anything that defends Brian Harsin, it's because he came and did an interview for us. I understand. Whatever. Like, I get your cynicism of why I would say the things that I'm saying, but just trust me when I say, of the list of things that I have as grievances for this coaching staff, I'm saying this isn't one of them. And I do have a list that I've detailed. But y'all don't hear me when I say the stuff that I don't like. You just hear the times that I say, hey, this ain't on that list, actually.
Yeah. I was, you know what, speaking of what Saban can get away with that Brian Harsin can't, because he's won a whole bunch of championships, rightfully. When he kind of smoked was it Agiye Hall, the guy who left, the wide receiver who left?
Agiye Hill.
Agiye Hill. Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry.
The guy that went to Texas, right?
Yeah, I was like, he kind of laying into this dude. Who is he talking about? And I didn't find out until after that the guy had transferred. I was like, oh, that's why, because he left. Players want to play, and they weren't ready to play, and now we're losing because it's your fault. Like, damn, Saban, you calling him out like that? That's kind of crazy. He can get away with anything, man. He can get away with anything. It's crazy.
Yeah. Hey, that's the beauty
of
winning.
You win.
When you win, you can do whatever. It's when you losing that anything that looks like a negative, it's gas.
And listen, that's the game. That's how it goes. Like, I'm not even upset at that, really. I'm just like it's crazy to me that it literally, like, I think it's crazy to me that we could win the game this weekend and people would still be mad because they'd be like, oh,
I mean, yeah, they will.
He might be staying.
We're gonna keep him.
Yeah. So.
Joe Kyle says last Sunday's show was superb, from Ike's stats to C-Dubs hating on Dabo to B Will's double rants on Jimothy. Great hour and 55 minutes.
Appreciate that, Joe Kyle.
Joe, you're welcome.
Appreciate that.
And also thank you for the super chat. Gladly appreciate you, good friend. Rick says waiting on A&M guys to start bailing on Jimbo.
Oh, it's already started happening. Well, he started kicking people off of his team.
Like, that, you know what's crazy? I know you see. Okay, so Jimbo actually is as bad a coach as we think he is. That's number one. But you see what losing does? Like, all right, you playing, you getting paid plenty. I know you getting paid to be here. I mean, I guess maybe you want some snaps, but when the team is doing bad, it's easy to tell a bunch of players, hey, wait your turn. You'll be fine. You're going to get snaps. If they were, what are they now? They're 3-4 right now. If they're 5-2 or 6-1, but instead you got the coach getting into, this is rumor, speculation, something flying over social media that Jimbo was chastising guys after, or they were smoking weed in the locker room before, whatever it is. You see how these stories tend to come out from teams that are playing very badly. But you don't think anybody was getting into it when they're winning? I mean, some of them are, and you don't hear about it because they're winning. Or no, they're not getting into it because they're winning, because everybody's happy.
Man, Bama literally had a wide receiver slap a girl on the field after a game. And
I
that
was like, no, we're
story
not gonna
just
suspend them. We
yeah,
just
we
gonna,
good.
we looking
Could
into
you
it.
imagine if an Auburn player did that?
They would have sworn Brian Harsin was running a sinking ship. Look, no discipline by the players. I guarantee you, if that happened at Auburn, they'd have lit into Brian Harsin in the media.
Who's that dude from AL.com? Yeah, that guy. We're not saying his name. If
Yeah.
he's he would have been all over that. All over that.
For sure.
Corey Weber asks, any inside info from this past Sunday scrimmage against UAB? Sounds like the shooting woes were present again. Have you heard anything, gentlemen?
I mean, I heard some stuff. I saw the stats from it. Yeah, it doesn't look like we can shoot at all still this year. But we do have an inside presence that's a lot better this year. So getting to the free throw line. But yeah, the boys still ain't shooting worth nothing.
Nicholas Frazier says, I'll be honest, Dawson and King deciding to go to the portal hurts because they can contribute in years to come, but we are in the right now time in college football. Yeah. I agree, Nicholas, 100%. Jeremy Duke asks, any update on Mike G? Mike G is still being challenged. Some positive news. I'm not at liberty to share a lot of information, but he still needs your prayers. Still be keeping him lifted up in prayer as he's attempting to recover. So thanks for asking, but that's the update on Mike G at this moment. Continue to keep him in his prayers as he's kind of battling some health challenges. Damian Prentice says, how much damage do you guys think is doing by Auburn's administration dragging their feet on these major decisions that need to be made, such as AD and head coach position? Thoughts, gentlemen?
So here's the thing. I don't want them to rush to any decision because let most people tell it we rushed to the last decision that we made, and this is how we ended up where we are. I want them, if they're whatever decision they're attempting to make, I want it to be a well thought out decision that they feel like they can stand behind for years to come. Not if it doesn't work next year, we're looking to get rid of a guy. Like I want some stability at the head coaching position at Auburn, and I want to see some sustained success and growth. And we were put in a bad position to start this off, and it hasn't gotten better, but we need to figure out how to hire a guy that we can have some patience with.
And from what I've been told, the president is very meticulous, very thorough. So usually when it comes to people who are that way, assuming that's true, they usually don't rush to quick decisions anyway. So patience is going to be a virtue with how this all shakes out. Dallas Schwartz says, War Report, if Coach Harsin is cut loose between now and December 1st, who do you feel is most likely to be Auburn's head coach when the season kicks in 2023? Here's what we're going to do, Dallas. When a decision is finally made on whether or not Harsin is retained or if they decide to let him go, we will go live and give you our thoughts on that whole situation. Trust me, we have notes. So we will definitely be prepared to answer this question when that happens. Nicholas Frazier says, Borges, Campbell, Bo Jackson, Williams, Uzoma. I'm sticking to it.
Yeah, it was all a $15 which players you buying thing. Yeah.
I like that. B Will, this is for you. Go ahead and read this one. This is for you, sir.
Good friend Andy Deeds says, why would you want to go somewhere where the win all the time? Jimmy Thieves. Did he actually say that? Because I didn't see it. I know he supposedly was saying something about, oh yeah, we're looking real attractive to recruits because they see that they can come in and help immediately.
It's looking one more time.
I can't do it again, man. I can't do it again. It's gotta be right then.
That was priceless, man.
It's looking a lot like what's that when they were putting the heat on Mullen last year because they were complaining about recruiting.
For sure.
And what did he say? He said something. It was like that was the wrong answer. Oh.
I forgot what I remember because I remember Josh Pate talking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, listen, if I was owed $85 million if I got fired, I show up to the press conferences with my shirt off. I mean, I don't know why he even pretended no more. Like, what are we doing? I just be up there in a white beater and with a cigar in my hand. Oh, I got to put this out. Okay, hold on. What up? Go. I don't even know why we pretending that this is something I have to put up with. Yeah, I'm a bad coach and my Reese's Pieces and smoking weed, whatever, man. Just cut my check. I'm gonna do it how I want to do it, and I'm gonna get paid if y'all don't want me to do it anymore. See you. I guess I am envious of Jimbo to that extent, but this is what it's like when you can't just fast talk your way out of terrible performance anymore. Now the heat's really on. Nobody's hearkening back to the one season out of 5 you had that was actually on par with the talent that you bring in. One. And it was a season where the people who had continuity had a huge advantage in 2020, the COVID year. Such a fraud.
Speaking of your sentiment, Thomas Jones, appreciate the super sticker. And what he asked is, if A&M gets to the Birmingham Bowl, can B. Will be a sideline reporter and talk to Jimbo at halftime? That would be epic.
Man, nah.
I'm not sure how we could
for the
spin
wrong
that.
thing. We're asking for the wrong thing. We need to be asking that they are not bowl eligible. That's what the hope needs to be, that they don't make it to 6-6. That's what we are wishing for.
We could actually
what we need to
crazily be the team that puts the nail in that coffin.
Yes.
But what we could do is, once we do that, here's what's going to be better, Thomas. If we put the nail in their coffin and then B. Will shows up in media days and grills Jimbo about last year, that would be epic.
If we are the team that sends them to a 7th loss, or let's say we might not be the last loss of the season, because I think they play LSU last, right?
Yes.
A&M does. So let's say we're their 6th loss, but we're a loss that nobody would have thought that we would have been on their schedule coming into the year. He won't be here next year. I don't think they go 5-7 and they keep him. I don't.
Really?
I think he's gone if he goes.
I mean, there's a lot of unrest in College Station right now, but again, you're paying him a lot of money.
That's
and
a
you
lot
paid
of money.
a lot of money for this recruiting class.
Yeah.
That's a
lot of money. I don't know that Jimbo has any excuses for the performance of this year's team.
Not in year 5.
Yeah, he's had a time to implement everything that he wants. They've been giving him all the money and resources to do everything that he wants. I'm not intimately acquainted with the Texas A&M situation, but from the outside looking in, I can't see a thing that says, oh, yeah, this is what hamstrung Jimbo Fisher from being able to put a winning team on the field. I don't know what that is. I don't know what the thing is. So,
yeah. Guys, we appreciate you guys' super chats. Blake Robinson says, for Mike G, get well soon, brother. Thank you for the well wishes there. Appreciate the super chat. Good to hear from you, Blake. Reggie says, if I'm owed $85 million, I'm showing up to the presser smoking a Black and Mild with a Thug Life coach tatted on my chest. I can see that visual. What as you said, B. Will, what a way to fail up, right?
Always failing upwards. Always failing upwards.
Oof. Yeah, for sure. Good conversation, guys. We appreciate you with your super chats. We gladly appreciate that. Guys, we need you to help us out also as well. Share this video. If you're on social media, help people to join in on this discussion. We're having a really good discussion. We have a lot of more things to discuss and get to tonight. So we are very thankful for you guys hanging out with us. Let other people in on this conversation as well so we can grow our community. Smash the like button, guys. Help us with our engagement as we're live. And if you're new to our channel, if you happen to find us tonight or whenever you find us, welcome. Go ahead and hit subscribe. Let's take time to acknowledge the sponsors of the War Rapport.
This edition of the War Rapport is made possible by our generous sponsors. AuburnSports.com. For news and notes on all things Auburn Sports, head over to AuburnSports.com. Athletic Architects. For young athletes looking to secure their financial future, let Athletic Architects help you to build your financial house. Head over to BuildTheHouse.com. And our giveaway sponsor, War Eagle Oil. War Eagle Oil is your #1 place for all of your motor oil and related products. For more information, visit WarEagleOil.com.
Yes, indeed. WarEagleOil.com is your place for all of your motor oil needs. We appreciate them for being sponsors of the War Rapport. You too can come on board and do whatever you'd like to come and help us towards our mission of being the biggest and the best. Well, we're already the best, humbly. Already the best. We could be the biggest with your help if you guys continue to support us. We appreciate everybody who does continue to support us. I'm going to get a second job at the request of the person in our comment section is going to be to cover basketball as well. So I want to continue doing that. So we appreciate everybody. $5.99 gets you there. Yes, we will be going full throttle with basketball coverage this season as well. For those of you who have already turned the page to that, $3.99 gets you to supporter level, and we appreciate those who have continued to be supporters of the War Report. If you currently are a member and you want to gift a membership, it's really easy right down there in the live chat. From a desktop computer, you can do that and gift a membership to anyone who you would like to. Well, actually, you don't get to decide. YouTube does that for you, but they want to make sure those memberships are being gifted to people who are likely to stay on. So thank you to those of you who have done that. We are giving away this Rushmore sweatshirt. It is starting to get cool outside, so I decided not to do this as a t-shirt. I did it as a sweatshirt. We have a sweatshirt and hoodie available in the store, but we're going to give away the first one of these to someone tonight. Hashtag get your weight up in the live chat. Again, this is sponsored by War Eagle Oil, wareagleoil.com, your place for all motor oil and motor-related products. But hashtag get your weight up in the comments. We'll be doing this giveaway here in just about 30 minutes. You have to be present to win, but hashtag get your weight up, and we will be doing a drawing and getting somebody the first of these wonderful shirts.
Gentlemen, it is week 9. Let's kind of see where we're looking after week 8's results on the gridiron in the SEC. I went 4-1. Ike and B were perfect, and they're slowly pulling away from me. Ike is still out in front. B Will is in second. Technically, you can argue that I'm in third place. But for what it's worth, I have the most losses. So let's see what happens this week. I think this is a kind of a quiet week in the SEC, gentlemen. No, I'm not sure if there's any intriguing matchups, but we'll see kind of based on what people are thinking. So let's get into it. We can kind of move through these.
Are you gonna try to make up some ground this week and pick some underdogs? See, or are you gonna try to play it safe?
I think I'm gonna play it a little conservative at this point. So there's no more separation. Let's start off with Florida at Georgia. Is it still called the world's largest outdoor cocktail party, or is it now just Georgia? No one cares. Gotcha. All right.
Yeah, I was about to say I don't know and don't care, but
all right. So what are we thinking, gentlemen?
I just saw what LSU did to Florida.
These are weird games, Florida and Georgia anyway.
Yeah, I mean, so here's the thing. I ain't finna be trying to analyze this. Georgia's gonna win. Continue. I don't know.
Yeah,
I can't even talk myself into a reason to make this intriguing. If Florida pulls off this upset, kudos to them. I just don't see it happening.
It would be it would be odd if they pull it off. But hey, stranger things have happened. Until then, I'm going to go conservatively with Georgia here. Mizzou on the road against South Carolina. Very interesting line. I think people know a lot of what we know.
So disrespectful, I think, to South Carolina that this line is on.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it though?
I think it is.
I don't know about that. I actually think the line is quite appropriate.
Yeah,
I think this is a very appropriate line.
That 5-2 for South Carolina is smoke
misleading.
And mirrors.
It's misleading as all get out. When you consider,
no, I'm not talking about. I'm talking about how they've played offensively as of late. So okay, anyway, I'm gonna let y'all talk, and then I'm gonna talk afterwards. But y'all go.
Well, okay, so I watched a lot of the coverage of A&M South Carolina because I like to soak it all in. And I saw Jimbo mention that they outgained South Carolina in their game.
They did.
In a loss. They did. South Carolina did almost nothing until that last drive where they just basically ran down the field for the last score that they needed to stay up 30-24. So South Carolina still has problems moving the ball on offense. And Missouri's defense their defensive line has been much better. Vanderbilt kind of rallied late to make it look respectable, but it was 17-0 for a while, or 17-3. I don't know. Before Vandy tried to, it was 17-0. That's what it was. Before Vandy tried to make it close to the end. Missouri's defense can hold South Carolina down, but Missouri's offense is terrible. So this is an appropriate, probably a pick'em game. I see why you give South Carolina a little bit of an edge on the spread there because they're at home. But yeah, Spencer Rattler's still not good.
Your boy.
Yeah. I honestly don't know what to make of this game. Like anything could happen.
Who
if
is
Missouri
the
won by
more
10,
overrated quarterback prospect in the last 3 years? DJ Uiagalelei or Spencer Rattler?
Spencer Rattler.
Spencer Rattler.
His own tier of NFL prospect. Oh my god!
Both of them were Heisman like front runners 2 years ago, though.
I was hearing about
Spencer.
Spencer Rattler before he got to college. Honestly, it was like, oh man, this kid's. I guess he was on some show where they cover like a camp competition or something. But yeah, I think Spencer Rattler is by far overrated.
Yeah, he transferred and still struggling. Like you could see it if he kind of, played better. But he's everything of what we saw.
I think DJ is going to leave Clemson this year. I think he transfers in the offseason.
You think to transfer? You don't think he's going to be trying to make it in the league?
Heck, who's drafting him? Yeah, no, he's going to the transfer portal. He's going to play his final years at some place not Clemson.
I disagree. The only reason I disagree is because he gave all the super pro team answers after the game where he got benched.
It don't matter.
Because he knows that there's not a situation.
You know who else did that and then left? Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts was all super pro team and then dipped the very next season.
He went to a better situation.
I'm not estimating what his situation is going
for him, though.
Yeah, I think
what's a better situation for DJ? There isn't I don't think there is a better situation.
I would like to stay tuned on that. I would like to stay. Hey,
did you think there was a better situation for Bo Nix?
You think he can go to Oregon?
Yeah, for him.
Yeah, I think there's one for DJ.
Or can DJ go to Oregon?
I think Oregon thinks that they have their quarterback of the future already on that team.
They got some 5-star guy coming in. Dante Moore he's from Detroit, but he already coming in.
And then they still have Thompson, who's there, who I don't think is going to stick around another year there.
Okay, so back to this game.
I took us off track. My bad.
All right, I'm gonna say, you know what? I don't mind Beamer getting a little more love and getting to a very deceiving 6-2. So yeah, South Carolina.
I think the next 2 weeks. South Carolina has benefited from a relatively easy schedule for the most part. I mean, they lost to Georgia, lost to Arkansas, but they beat a Kentucky team that did not have their starting QB. In the next 2 weeks, they play Missouri and Vandy. They could easily be 7-2 at the season, assuming they win, right?
And they already played their. Everybody else kind of has November Cupcake on their schedule, but they played theirs 2 weeks ago. South Carolina State,
correct?
Because they got to play Clemson at the end of the year. So
now November is going to be rough for them.
Yeah, it is.
They play Tennessee, Clemson,
loss.
Yeah, that is going to be. It's going to be tough. I'm going South Carolina as well. But this is a pick'em game. It could easily go the other way. All right, your thoughts?
Y'all did all this telling me it wasn't disrespectful, and y'all gonna pick South Carolina. I thought y'all was gonna try to convince me that Missouri was gonna pull the upset in this game.
It's a coin flip. I'm basically just picking South Carolina for the home. Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Okay.
But I felt like the line was disrespectful for South Carolina, considering it's at home and you get a home field bump just from the fact that you're playing at home. But I do actually believe in Missouri's defense more than I believe in South Carolina's ability to score points. So I'm going Missouri.
Heard that.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's keep it moving. Number 19, Kentucky at Tennessee.
Is Will Levis back and healthy?
You know what? I have not checked that.
I don't know.
Let me do my researches. Well,
how does that factor into your conclusion, Ike?
Just whether or not they will be able to move the ball in any fashion. I still think Tennessee would win with Will Levis, but I do believe that Kentucky would keep it a lot closer with Will Levis in the game. So, but I'm going to pick Tennessee either way.
I'm going Tennessee here.
Yeah, I'm going Tennessee. Will Levis is playing. He was one of the players available for press this week, so he's talking about the game. But yeah, I'm going Tennessee.
Number 15, Ole Miss at Texas A&M. Very interesting line here as well. Thoughts on this, guys?
Ole Miss is better than Texas A&M.
Yeah. Well. Okay.
Can Texas A&M run the ball against this team?
I mean, everybody can run the ball against this team. Can Texas A&M do anything besides run the ball? And is that going to be enough for them to stop Ole Miss? No. Ole Miss wins.
Yeah, I think Ole Miss puts up more points.
I was very disappointed in how, even though I picked Ole Miss to lose last week, I was disappointed in how bad they lost.
I was not. I kind of expected it because LSU has done that weeks in a row now. They turn it on late. Tennessee, they didn't turn anything on. But no, they turned it on late. They're a second half team. So I kind of expected that. Ole Miss, man, they're overrated. They're really a middle of the pack team. Another team where that early 6-0 record was very deceiving.
They're pretenders.
Yeah, they're pretenders. Yeah, I can't pick Jimothy. Wait, Texas A&M, LSU.
I was about to say, what are we doing here?
Who else is on that schedule?
I don't know.
Wait, I'm sorry. They have to play Ole Miss this weekend. When do we play?
They play Auburn. They play. Is it next week?
No, because that's a home game. So we're going to Mississippi State.
Mississippi State.
They will play Texas A&M.
So they play Florida. They play Florida.
Florida. Is that home or away for them?
I don't know. I got to look it up.
Okay, I'm gonna pick Ole Miss.
It's at home.
It's at home. Florida.
It's at home against Florida. It's at home against Ole Miss. They go on the road to us, and then they're at home against LSU.
Well, they got a lot of home games left. Okay, they could steal one of these. Florida's their best chance. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna go ahead and go Ole Miss here. I don't think this is gonna be the team that they sneak down the stretch. I think Florida's their best chance playing at home, and the dysfunction going on behind the scenes. It's not a good look. It's not a good look. He's losing the locker room, man. He's losing the locker room, and that usually shows on the field. So
I don't know if you like. We can. I think it's an interesting thing to talk about losing a locker room. So I think we need to have a separate conversation about that because I think
let's hold on. Let's hold on to that because Granted, it's been fun watching Auburn football this year, so we'll talk about that. We'll have opportunities to discuss that for sure. Let's talk about.
You know what? I can't wait till we get to have like a retrospective about this season in total, and we talk about a lot of stuff that happened this year because there's a lot to unpack. But anyway, continue.
100%. Let's talk about Auburn, shall we? And let's look at the head-to-head. Of course, this game will take place this upcoming weekend. That is actually the 29th, 11 a.m. Central Time on the SEC Network.
Yeah, I don't know why I put that's last week's date on there. My bad.
Oh, good. Arkansas is favored. You see the over and under. The Football Power Index actually likes Auburn in this game. Series history, Auburn leads at 19. They're 19-11-1. Last year, Auburn won convincingly on the road against Arkansas, 38-23. We don't have a guest, but we can talk about this game. And let's talk about our offense against Arkansas's defense. I want to give you some stats about Arkansas's defense. Arkansas is actually ranked 13th in total defense in the SEC, 120th nationally, giving up 457 yards per game. They're ranked 7th in rush defense, middle of the pack in the SEC, 63rd nationally, giving up 142 yards per game. And in pass yards allowed, they're literally at the bottom with two other SEC teams, I think Vandy and Tennessee. They rank 12th, 128th nationally, giving up over 317.8 yards per game. I don't know if you've had a chance to kind of check out the competition, Arkansas's defense. I don't know if you had a chance to really watch them. Have you had a chance to watch them?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I watched some games earlier in the season. I went and rewatched the BYU game because I was like, how in the world did Arkansas beat BYU this handily?
Mhm.
And the answer to that is BYU was doing exactly what Auburn cannot do, and that is not taking advantage of plenty of situations that they had to blow that game wide open because
Yeah.
they were moving the ball at will on them in the first half, and then they started screwing up.
Mhm.
Like they had a situation where they fumbled an exchange from under center, where it was a turnover. Like the quarterback was so like Arkansas's defense. It's if you looked at the final score in that BYU game, you like, oh man, Arkansas's defense got it together a little bit and they put a bunch of points on the board. No, their defense was getting shredded that game by a BYU offense that had not been particularly great before that game. They've been okay,
Yeah.
but not great.
What were some of the things that, particularly in the past game, that Arkansas struggled with? Were they having difficulties tackling an open field, or were
Yes.
people able to take the top off of them?
Yes.
All of it.
Yes. Misalignment, not tackling well, a lot of penalties on downfield situations. One of them was kind of a BS on the pass interference call. I'll agree with the commentator said that too. But they're very handsy in the back end, which can get flagged. They were they weren't particularly great with a pass rush. Unless because Barry Odom likes to blitz, right? So when they weren't bringing like zero blitzes where it's like literally cover zero, they don't have anybody back. If it wasn't like cover zero or cover one and they were blitzing, they were getting no pass rush to be spoken of. Which in the back end they were playing a lot of zones, so there was a lot of open stuff on the back end. When the guys did get the ball, they weren't tackling particularly well. They weren't containing, like they were not doing anything particularly well on defense the first half of that game.
Yeah.
It just did. I was just like, because like as I'm watching the game, I watched the first quarter and I was like, oh, okay, all right, it's back and forth a little bit. Arkansas apparently had not scored in the first quarter of a game before that BYU game in like 3 games. So they weren't putting the ball in the end zone at all. But they ended up getting 1 score there in that game in the first quarter. But I was like, how did BYU lose this game, bro? Like I'm sitting here watching, I'm just like, they are getting whooped right now. But BYU's defense wasn't doing particularly well against the run. Stop me if you've heard this before. And they were turning the ball over.
Yeah. Yeah.
So one of the things that's not listed here, and I'll be fair to Arkansas's defense, is you mentioned it. They like to bring a lot of pressure. They're known for that. And Arkansas is actually top of the SEC in terms of sacks. They have 21 on the season, averaging 3 per game. They're tied for 17th nationally. So against an offense that has definitely had its share of issues up front with a very young quarterback, how does Auburn attack this Arkansas defense? How does Auburn keep his quarterback upright and ahead of the chains against Arkansas?
I mean, I think you do a lot of what I saw BYU do in that game, which is you're going to have to. Robbie Ashford's going to have to be good in the intermediate. The intermediate pass game has to be his friend because they're going to surrender those seam routes and those deep over routes. Like those things are going to be there for him. He's just got to figure out how to not panic and he needs to be able to throw when they're going to run some sort of cover 2 situation and they're going to give up the sideline routes. He's going to need to be able to hit those. His intermediate pass game has got to get better. But if he's able to break contain against this against this defense, that scramble drill stuff is definitely going to be there for him.
Yeah.
Do we see a balance in this game? Obviously, that's been one of the things that Harsin has wanted to do. But does Auburn lean particularly strong in one area? Do they go to the air a lot against Arkansas, trying to expose their defense or their secondary? What do you think Auburn does in terms of their game plan or their approach to Arkansas's defense overall?
I bet you we see some early pass action stuff to get some big plays because they're going to be key to
but like they just seem like they're relentlessly committed to trying to be balanced, and it just doesn't matter. I think they got a little confidence in their ability to run with the Ole Miss game, and they're going to come out and see if they can do it again.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's the best. I think you have to make them think, oh, yeah, they got a little steam in the run game. They're going to try to run it down our throats, and you're going to come out early play action and hit them for a couple of, and here's the thing that I wish, and I say this probably a little too often, that more offensive coordinators and quarterbacks could just be patient and take 3 to 5 yard gains on first down. Like everything doesn't have to be a chunk play all the time. Take the 3 yard out, and maybe your guy breaks a tackle and he gets it 5 to 7 yards, and put yourself ahead of the chains. I just want to see us exercise a little more patience in the pass game and not have everything have to be 10, 12, 15, 30-yard plays. Like, it's okay to take a profit. 5 yards, get yourself in a better position for second and third down.
But I think that's the thing, Ike, is that you have to be able to call or dial up those plays on first and second down instead of waiting to third and long when you can't even get those 5 yard plays, right? And I think a lot of that play calling has to factor into that as well. Would you agree?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's got to be there. But again, I think sometimes, it's 2 parts to it. You've got to call it, and then the quarterback's got to either execute it or just be okay with taking that, right?
Yeah,
like, he doesn't have to look for, okay, we got a 15-yard over route on this one. That's what I'm looking at first, because it'll be there if it holds long enough. Your offensive line's not holding for a long time. Just look at where your leverages are. Take a profit. Dump it down to a running back. Hit a quick out route to a tight end. Quick seam route to a slot receiver. All of those things get you yardage, and be okay with taking 5, 7 yards on first down on something quick, and let Arkansas kill themselves because they're trying to, we gotta come down because they're throwing all this stuff underneath, and then you have the opportunity to take the top off. I want us to stop doing run pass pass so much.
Yeah.
Are you surprised we haven't seen an intricate amount of screens with inserting Robbie into this lineup?
I think the wide receiver screen is something I expected to see more often. They tried to do running back screen last week or last game, and
that was a disaster.
Yeah, that didn't work out so well. So I don't know. I mean, so like this is the thing that is always difficult for me as a person who tries to analyze what's going on. Are they calling stuff because they're trying to call things that they know Robbie's comfortable with running and is good at running? So we don't throw a lot of screen because he doesn't throw the screen particularly well, right? Like, or do we not call a bunch of slants even though it's available because Robbie's not particularly accurate or consistent throwing the slant route? Or are they just not great at dialing up plays? Like, I don't know where we are in that ether of stuff. And that's what makes it hard for me to analyze what's happening, because we could be having the game plan that's best executable based upon what we have available in our talent. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, you gentlemen. Good talk. I didn't know if y'all had anything else you wanted to add based on this lineup. Any concerns? I mean, obviously,
the only other thing I'll add is that Arkansas's secondary, this is the people who started their last game, but Slusher actually did not start their last game. He's supposed to be coming back from injury, the nickel back there. Chavis went out during the last game, and I'm not sure what his status is. He is listed on the depth chart for this game, according to some Arkansas media that I went and looked up. But they have been in flux in their defensive secondary just because of injuries. They've had a ton of injuries in the defensive backfield. So there's no telling who's healthy enough to actually be a solid contributor on this. Their best players are clearly their linebackers between Bumperpool and Sanders. But yeah, McLaughlin's good too. He's the guy that transferred from LSU. So, but he had 2 pass interference calls in the first half of that game. So,
well, let's go ahead and we'll get to, we're at the hour mark. So let's go ahead and get to that drawing, actually, gentlemen. And what we are going to be drawing is a brand new sweatshirt It's a really nice sweatshirt too. Like, I really like that one. Props to our guy Ike for always designing some of the fresh merch. The Rushmore sweatshirt. This giveaway is, of course, for our show, Midweek Report, brought to you by War Eagle Oil. And if you want to win it, you need to enter the hashtag Get Your Weight Up. And listen, guys, most of y'all not new to this. You already know to enter to win. If you haven't done so, what are you doing with your life? Seriously. Now, I said that to stall, to give you some more time, because Ike's ready to draw right now. You're muted, by the way, Ike.
Yeah, hashtag Get Your Weight Up in the comments in case the person is not there. Sponsored by War Eagle Oil. Today's winner, Stephen Riley.
Stephen,
a longtime supporter of the War Report. We appreciate you, Stephen. Let yourself be known here in the comments if you are still here. If not, we will definitely draw again here after we start talking about this defense for Auburn versus the Arkansas offense. So, yeah, congratulations, Stephen.
All right, gentlemen. Let's talk our defense versus their offense.
And Steven is here, by the way. He's here, so let's keep
okay. All right. Steven, you already know what to do, good sir. Email us, shirt size, physical address, send that to business@thewarreport, and your new sweatshirt will be coming your way. Congratulations, and thanks for watching. All right. Let's talk Arkansas's offense. Now, you remember how I talk statistically how they're not really good defensively? It's a different story on offense. They are in the SEC, they're ranked 4th in total offense, 14th nationally, averaging 488 yards per game. They're 2nd in the SEC in rush offense, 9th nationally, averaging 240 yards per game on the ground. And they're 7th in the SEC, middle of the pack, in pass offense, 61st nationally, averaging 248 yards per game. We know that we've been pretty vulnerable against the run. Do we expect to see any improvement this upcoming weekend? How does Auburn slow down this running attack? As Ike has the struggle face trying to search for answers. B, do you have something?
Yes, I know exactly how we slow down their running game. We score more points than them early
and make them have to throw. Yeah.
The defense just holds on until mid-third quarter. They have to throw as the time wanes. If we can move the ball on, a defense this bad will let us convert. Now, again, like Ike said, we've got to make some things available, be willing to take 5-6 yard gains and not go for big chunk yardage all the time. But it's available. This is the defense to do it on. Ole Miss's defense was okay to mediocre, but I'm still not convinced a different alignment wouldn't help out their defensive numbers. With this team, they're just not good. I don't know if it's their alignment or them, but either way, this is the second year their defense has been suspect, and it got much worse this year from last year. So this is the day. This is the team where you go, all right, we're just gonna stay on the field for a 14 play, 75-yard drive. And we're not gonna put you on the field, KJ. When you get on the field, it'll be because we had the ball for 6.5 minutes and we scored a touchdown. And you're gonna be over there nice and cold and having to get up and warm up, and our defense is gonna have just enough in pocket for you where we're gonna sit you down real quick. You'll get 3, 4, 5 plays and sit down, and then we're going to hold the ball for another 6-7 minutes. This is the best case scenario. Now, that's not likely if their defense is really that bad, because it means we could probably score quickly. But what it also means is if you can get somebody out of position consistently, overplaying things consistently, you should be able to just move the ball on them at will and break their spirits and take what you want. And if you can do that, you can keep the other team on the sideline and save your defense so they don't have to be out here subject to all 10 drives of KJ Jefferson doing whatever. You shouldn't have to be subject to that. We have enough offense. We have enough offensive talent and experience at this point. I'm not saying we're not 3 or 4 year experience at all the most important positions on offense, but what we are is we should know who we are now. Our coaches should know who we are now, what we're good at and what we're not, especially coming off a bye week. I don't expect to see any confusion about what we should have called, or who we got on the field at wide receiver, or who needed more touches at running back. Not coming off a bye week in week 8, the 8th game of the year. So I expect us to be able to keep them on the sideline some and to force them to throw, because the game should be so far not out of hand, but they're going to know that they can't just run all the way down the field without using so much clock that they now have to consider throwing the ball. That's how we do it. I am going to assume in my head, I am visualizing this happen. We're up 21-10 going into the last 5 minutes of the second quarter. We are up 24-13 in the first 5 minutes of the third quarter. Like, I'm seeing it happen in my head. And we need that's got to be our game plan. That's got to be how we control this game.
Ike, thoughts on this, sir?
Yeah, I don't know how we get better in the run game. If you listen to the players talk, Derek Hall and Owen Papo in the weekly presser said that, you know, they're trying to fix their issues with run fits. And what it essentially sounded like he was saying is that we don't have enough trust in each other on the defense to just trust, hey, this guy's going to be where he's supposed to be. You just do your job and it'll all be fine, which I agree. I agree 100% that a lot of the issues are people trying to do too much and they're out of position. So if you just did your job, you'd have been fine on that play, but you're trying to go out there and do too much. But I don't know how you fix that in 1 week against the best rush offense in our league. If they were like the 3rd or 4th best, I'd be like, oh, maybe you got a chance. But I just saw what Ole Miss did to us. And I don't know how that gets better just because you had a bye week. So again, I think the remedy is your offense controlling the time of possession and keeping Arkansas off the field.
Which pretty much plays into what you think the offensive game plan will be. They're not really going to attack the secondary primarily as much as they're trying to build off of what they did against Ole Miss on the ground.
Yeah.
Okay. We were asked about Cam Riley. Do you think we see any new faces at the second level in this game?
It was a health issue for Cam Riley, wasn't it?
Yeah. I don't know, man. Play Robert Woodyard.
Yeah, that's what I want to see. That's what I want to see, 100%. All of them.
I guess if someone's going to make a mistake at this point, right?
That's my whole point at the linebacker position, bro. Is like, listen, I get it. He's young and he's gonna make mistakes. Is he gonna make more mistakes than the guys you got in there right now?
Right.
Yeah. Oof. Okay. All right. Well, we made quick work of this one. We don't sound too excited about this one. I think our best defense.
I don't sound excited about our prospects for stopping the run. I think that we can move the ball against them. The question is, for me, it's the question of, can we protect the ball? And if we can, we've got a chance to win the game. But if we can't protect the ball, which we have not done this entire season, then Arkansas stands a chance to get this dub.
So our best defense will be a pretty efficient offense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Entirely. Yes.
So on this graphic, we should have showed our offense.
Yeah, just our offense versus their offense.
Yeah. Although Robbie was tackling like crazy that time in the LSU game, so maybe we should put him.
He was big mad after that turnover. That's what that was.
Tackle.
Great tackle though. Will not take that away from the kid. Let's go ahead, and I think we can go ahead and we will definitely be covering this game. You guys can see us when we do 10:30, our 10:30 pregame show this Saturday. We'll definitely give more thoughts about this matchup, give our final thoughts on this. But right now, we're going to have some fun and do a little bit of facts or nah. Ike, you can go ahead and take it away for us. Of course,
y'all.
you usually the guy who handles that.
Yeah, listen, man, we are going to get into this Facts or Nah, sponsored by the Rogue Shop. Listen, rogueshop.com is the place where you need to go. Use code Rapport if you want to get a little something off your herbal supplement needs. But we are going to get into Facts or Nah, and try to do a little bit of it's just going to be me and C doing this, but you guys get your questions ready. But y'all know how it goes down. This is Facts or Nah. Sponsored by the Rogue Shop, and we will get straight into it like this. Facts or not, Auburn is able to hold Arkansas's rushing attack under 200 yards in this game. See what you're feeling.
No, I don't think so. What I do think is that Arkansas won't have a lot of success passing through the air. And what I do think happens is because we do limit them a little bit below their average in terms of passing yards. I think we hold them to under 200 yards passing in this game. I do think that they'll get a lot of their yards on the ground. And I do think that that would amount to them getting over 200 yards when all is said and done. I think Auburn will be in this game throughout. So I don't see it as a situation where they're just gashing us like we saw against Penn State. At least that's the hope, right? But I do think that we won't be able to hold them under 200 yards. I would love to see it, but I don't have a lot of confidence based on previous games against teams who run the ball well that we would do that. So it's a no.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you guys know how I feel about our rush defense thus far this year. I'm going to have to go nah. I don't see it happening. The only way it does happen is if somehow Auburn opens up a really big lead early and forces Arkansas to have to pass the ball more. And it becomes a situation where they're going to be out of obvious run situations often, or we, are able to somehow force negative plays, which we haven't done a great job of this year, and make it where the run game is not something that's a good option for them throughout the game. So for right now, again, until I see it, I'm going to have to go nah.
All right. Facts or nah? Robbie Ashford throws for over 200 yards in this game.
200 yards for Robbie Ashford. I'm going to go facts on this one. I think Robbie Ashford does have the ability to do that. We've seen him do that before, and Arkansas is not particularly great against the pass. So I especially think this is going to be the case if this is a tight game late. I think we're going to be passing the ball more often. So I'm going to go facts on this one. Robbie Ashford breaks 200 in this game.
Yeah, I'm going to go facts here as well. Either it's because we're playing a very balanced game and we're able to move the ball very well. We're able to catch Arkansas looking in the backfield for Tank or Jarquez, and Ashford is able to beat them over the top. Or worst case, we're playing from behind and Robbie's having to throw the ball a lot. Either way, Robbie Ashford definitely throws for over 200 yards. I'm hoping it's because of the former, not the latter. We'll definitely see. But I think 200 yards passing at least is guaranteed for Robbie Ashford this weekend. Big facts.
All right, that's it for the two of us. We're going to go to the comment section and grab some of your facts or not questions. Make sure you put facts or not in it so that we can see those a little bit easier in the chat. But let's get straight to this. Facts or not?
Yeah, the first one I got is from Lawrence Robinson, and he says, facts or not, Robbie rushes for over 75 yards and throws for 250. What you think, Ike?
Over 250 with 75 rushing yards. I'm going to go nah. I don't think he does both of them. If he goes, listen, if Robbie throws for over 250 yards and he rushes for more than 75 yards, that means that offense is humming, in my opinion. Either that or it could go one of two ways. That means he's the entire offense or the offense is humming. I'm going to say nah, he doesn't do both of them. He's going to do one or the other unless he breaks a really long run.
Nah. I'm going to go nah here just because it could happen, but I think that with Arkansas blitzing a lot, not to say that they actually get them down, but I just think their aggressiveness may neutralize that a bit. I think he has a good chance to throw for over 200 or throw for 250 because we already agreed he'll throw for over 200 yards. But 75, I actually would like to see our running backs get a good bit of the rush yards on the ground. So if Robbie in the past, when Robbie is rushed for over 50 yards, it was a good chance he was our leading rusher in that game. I would like to see less of him, more of Tank, more of Jarquez. So I'm going to go nah. All right, next one. Aubie's Weagle. Fact or nah? Facts or nah? We get another interception this week. What say you, Ike?
I think KJ Jefferson is prone for throwing one of these up for us to be able to take advantage of. My guy, DJ James, you still owe me one, cuz. DJ, where you at? I need one this week, bro.
Did Keontae got us one last time,
he was
right?
the one that got the tipped interception against Ole Miss. So DJ owes me one. DJ James, come with it, bro.
I'm gonna go nah on this one. I'm gonna go nah on this one. I think he is good for it, but the problem is you can make the same argument for Ole Miss, but I think because if they're running the ball well, then it takes a lot of pressure off of him to have to be able to make plays through the air. And I think if Auburn's run defense was a lot better, I would absolutely say facts on this because the pressure would be on KJ Jefferson to make plays through the air and not through it with his legs or on the ground game. I'm going to go nah. Yeah, I feel bad about that one, but I'm going to go nah there. Leostato, facts or nah, will Ashford have 2 or more TDs?
Yes.
Rush or passing? I'm going facts here.
Yeah.
Through the air for sure. Yeah, I'm gonna go passing, and I think he will have at least 2 touchdowns for sure. Lawrence Robinson says, facts or nah, Auburn wins the turnover battle.
Oh, bless the Lord. I don't know, man. Golly. We haven't done it a single time. Well, no, we did do it in the Missouri game. I take that back. That's the only game where we've won the turnover battle. I mean, just for my sanity, I need this to be facts, but I can't say facts based upon recent history. I have to go nah. God, I hope this is not true. We win the turnover battle, please, but
I'm going to go facts here. I'm going to go facts here because this pretty much is going to determine the outcome of the game.
Yeah, for sure.
This is the game right here. If we lose the turnover battle, we're going to lose this game. No doubt, especially with the concerns we already have on defense, putting them in a situation where more times often than not, when we turn the ball over, is deep in our own territory. We don't want to keep giving Arkansas many times at bat against us. So I'm going to go facts just off the strength that we're able to make this a game and win it. So facts there. All right. Joe Cow says, facts or not, Auburn covers the spread. And I think we were asked about the over and under. You want me to pull that back up again, Ike?
The spread is 3.5. Over under was don't
62,
remember.
I want to say.
Yeah, I think it's something like that.
So what do you think? We cover?
We cover the spread 3. And I mean, I want us to win, so I'm gonna go facts. Because we're not favored to win this game. So facts. W.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna go facts. I'm gonna go facts here as well. Just off pure optimism here. Facts or nah, we will see a backup kicker at some point during the game.
I hope the answer to this is facts. We asked Brian Harsin at the Monday presser, were they intentionally not kicking the ball into the end zone and at the frequency in which it was happening with the kick going out of bounds? And he said, no, it wasn't intentional. That wasn't like the design. So I'm like, look, bro, we need to see somebody else kicking the ball off because it's happened far too often for that to not be the plan. So I'm hoping this is facts just because I need to see something that indicates Brian Harsin is willing to just pull out all the stops to shore up every part of this team.
All right. Facts or not, Austin gets over 5 carries in this game.
I think that's facts. 5 carries. Oh, that's
I'm gonna go nah.
A good question.
I'm going nah. I'm going nah here.
The only way that this happens,
he gets about 2 to 3.
Yeah, I was about to say the only way he gets 5 carries
Someone's injured.
he does a couple of the sweeps like he did the last game, and he lines up in the backfield a couple of times. I'm gonna go nah.
I'm going nah here because I think he's gotten at most maybe like 3 carries a game or something like that. So I think we'll see about the same for him. Jarquez and Tank are going to be getting the majority of those carries. Let's see here. We keep getting asked this one. Todd Jordan asked, facts or nah, Keontae takes one to the house.
If they're letting him return them again, he might have an opportunity to do it. The return game, as far as Arkansas's punter actually did fairly well in the games that I've seen of just like keeping the ball away from the returner. So I'm going to go nah on this one. I don't think he has an opportunity to take one to the house in this game.
And he's been pretty conservative too lately. He hasn't been as aggressive. So I'm going to go nah here as well. He's probably going to be fair catching a lot of these, even if they are able to kick it to him at all. Facts or nah, Auburn gets over 400 yards of offense.
God, I hope this is facts. I hope we have, another Ole Miss type of offensive performance minus the turnovers. So I'm going facts.
I'm going facts here just because Arkansas is already averaging over 400 yards that they're giving up on defense. So this would be a bad sign if we can't get to 400 yards of offense. So I'm going facts on that one. Let's see here. James Barnett says, facts or not, Robbie Ashford throws for a touchdown and runs for a touchdown.
This is similar to a one we had earlier that he'll get 2 touchdowns. And you said earlier you thought he was going to throw for both of them. I do think he'll get a rushing touchdown as well. So I'll go facts on this.
I'll go facts here too. Why not? I don't see any more. I think we're good, Ike.
Word.
I think we're good for right now. So,
all right. Well, that has been Facts and All, of course, presented by our guys at the Rogue Shop. You guys make sure you head over to rogueshop.com for all of your herbal supplement needs. Use code Rapport to get 15% off of your purchase. That's rogueshop.com, code Rapport for all of your herbal supplement needs. And that will tell them, the guys, listen, you got to support our sponsors if you want them to continue to sponsor us. So if you are the person that partakes in herbal supplements, that's the place you need to be shopping. Use code Rapport.
Ike, you're going to be covering this game, right?
Are you I will be down at the Plains once again this weekend covering the game for sure.
So, yeah, it's going to be interesting, man. It's definitely going to be interesting. What are some of your closing thoughts, man? Because you're not going to be have an opportunity to jump on the pregame.
Right.
What are some of the things that you need to see in order to see Auburn get a win coming off of the bye week?
I just want to see more discipline as far as penalties and turnovers. And I want to see a competent run defense for 3 quarters. I don't care which 3 quarters it is, but I want 3 quarters. Like, it doesn't even have to be all 4 quarters. You hear what I'm saying? Like, they could play crappy to start off and then pick it up and start shutting it down later in the game. I just need to see at least 3 quarters of competent run defense because I think that's enough with a disciplined offense to win this football game. But just play like you understand what's supposed to be going on defense and play as mistake-free as possible on offense. And that gets you a win. Like, and when I say mistake-free, I literally mean turnovers and penalties. I don't even mean like we're moving the ball up and down the field consistently. I think you can win this football game without scoring a bunch of points if you don't just give them the ball over and over again and you're able to play consistently on defense. I think you can win this game with just that. Now, if you want to blow them out, then you do all of those things and you move the ball, 400, 500 yards of offense type of stuff. But I think that's a little bit much to ask. So mistake-free, penalties, turnovers, proficient in the run game, get out of there with a win. Let's move on to the next one.
Is it fair to say that Auburn should not come out slow or sloppy coming off of a bye week? I think Auburn should look like they should look like a team that's coming off of a bye week. Basically, they shouldn't look sluggish, shooting themselves in the foot. those.
Yeah, I mean,
choices.
listen, Arkansas is coming off of a bye week as well. That's the the one bad thing about this is like they've had an opportunity to get their act together and get some guys healthy and all of those things. So the bye week should not be an excuse for sluggishness for either team or a recipe for guys being more proficient all of a sudden in things that they've been bad at all year. But what I do hope happens is we figured out over the bye week who are the guys that need to be out there playing right now, and how can we not shoot ourselves in the foot, like whatever that takes, because people told me I was crazy for saying that ball securities at some point in time comes down to the player just holding on to the football. Well, hopefully somebody figured out what the recipe was for not fumbling the ball all the time. Somebody figured out how we can be less prone to do stuff like jumping off sides consistently or false starting, right? Like, know what the snap count is and do the things that you need to do to make sure that you're not shooting yourself in the foot. Make Arkansas force you to do something.
Yeah. Gotcha. Well, appreciate that, man. Good conversation. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us. I tell the people what they need to be doing during season.
Yep. You guys need to be coming on board as a member of the War Rapport. We still got plenty of stuff coming up for you. As long as there are Auburn Sports, there will be War Rapport things happening. So you guys can come on board $5.99. That gets you to the Monday film reviews. That also gets you to be able to, if you're just a supporter, I don't want to say just, but even if you are at the supporter level, you can come and chat with the halftime and post game with us and get all of your frustrations and or joy out for what has happened in that game. So come on board with us. $5.99 or $3.99 will get you to that place. If you are a member and you want to gift the membership from a desktop computer in the live chat, you can do that right now. You can click that and give away as many memberships as you want. YouTube will randomly assign it. Congrats to our winner for the shirts today. But if you didn't get an opportunity to win, you can go to the website. thewarreport.com is your place for all of your War Rapport stuff. That includes finding stuff about the podcast, or if you want to read articles that we got. C-Dub has been doing great breakdowns on what he's doing with his power rankings. So if you see the power rankings thing go up and you want to know how did he arrive at that conclusion, you can go to the War Report and get more details on things like that. But you can also shop there and support us in that way if you don't want to do the membership. And we appreciate all of those things. Speaking of podcasting, we are the Auburn Express on all of your podcast platforms, powered by the War Report, where you can find audio only things. We do things like Mike Mack and the Memes show, which I am filling in, of course, for Mike right now. So it is Ike Mack and Memes, but that's happening right now on our podcast, audio only. And we'll have some more audio only things that we are dropping here in the very near future. So make sure you are subscribed to us on whatever podcast platform you're using.
In addition to that, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to continue to support us, tell a friend about the War Rapport. You can do that by sharing this content on social media, guys. At us, hit the hashtag. We gladly appreciate it. And while you're watching live with us or on replay, smash the like button on the video. Subscribe to our channel if you are new to our channel. Guys, you can also interact with us on social media. We're out there on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at The War Rapport. We're TW Rapport on TikTok. That's it for now, guys. We definitely got more content on the way, and we will definitely see you guys this weekend as we will be previewing the Auburn-Arkansas matchup, giving our final thoughts and predictions before kickoff. Halftime show, we'll definitely be discussing the first half, and post-game, the whole game as well. Until then, guys, enjoy the rest of your week. And as always, War Eagle.